Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm doing fine. To my friend in Tri-Cities, Tennessee, Anatawatoshi. I learned that. That's Cherokee. Does not mean what it means in Japanese. Anatawatoshi ski. Good morning.
Is that what that's supposed to mean, is good morning?
No, it means I love you in Japanese. Does not mean that in Cherokee.
Oh, so you love some random guy in Tri-Cities, but not me.
Yeah, the guy that said I learned all my Indian languages, not in Tennessee.
Uh-huh.
That was one I worked on.
I see how it is.
Uh-huh.
All right, we are in reassembly mode today. So we pulled these guys out of the shed. They're a little rough, but we're not going to bother stripping them and all that stuff right now. We'll do that later when we take the car apart. These are off the 77 donor car that I found. Again, you can see they're in pretty good shape. You know, even these guys, this is the better of the two. This guy's not bad. This one, flip him over. The other side's a little rusty here. I don't know which side's the battery box side. I think it's this one. Would make sense, since that's where all the rust is. But possibly not. This has the had the original overflow bottle on it still. I'll pull that out in a minute and show it to you. I think this is salvageable. It's not too bad. One thing we did just run into, this guy got broken somewhere along the way. So I'll ask you guys if is it possible to weld this? Again, this is in all likelihood pot metal, so I'm not sure I can do anything with it. Sorry, sneeze from all the dust. Let me know what you guys think. It'd be a real shame if I had to chuck this thing. I've had this thing sitting around for years and somehow got busted. That's really frustrating, but whatever. So we're gonna put this dog back together today and see where we end up. We're like the Megadeth album. So far, so good, so what?
So far, so good.
So what?
So what?
That's, yes, Megadeth would say. Anyway, so we just wrapped this guy up in plastic here in preparation for putting the rest of the stuff on. Just because we're going to be shooting 2K primer and Lord knows what. Try and keep the stuff off of there as much as possible. If anybody has any commentary on that process, how much protection do I have to give it from underneath? Do I have to fully wrap it all the way around, or is just the gravity settling stuff all we have to worry about? I don't know. All right, so we're gonna start slapping this thing together here. All right, so we laid the fenders on for just a second and did our best to mark where the fender holes line up. And then took calipers here. Sorry, this way. Try and measure the center there. And measure the center here. And it looks like we got it about right. Sorry, about there. So now I'll go measure from the tops down and get those measurements. All right, so when we measured that, those are pretty low down here, so I'm a little worried about that. There is a bracket that goes behind that. We had to dig around for a while to find, but we did find it. Sorry. Something like that, right? So even if we're a little thin here, hopefully it'll work. If not, we'll have to come back and build up more fiberglass on that, which I hope we don't have to. All right, so that's not perfect, but it does fit. Can't really move those bolts any lower, I don't think, without having to mess up the fiberglass, but we can always build this up to match that if necessary. We just have a couple of bolts holding this thing in here, so we have to line up the rest of the fender now. Let's see how close we can get, but we'll move on to the other side first and make sure we can get all this to fit before we start trying to put it all together here. All right, we've been wrestling with these inner wheelhouses for a long time here. According to the manual, it would appear as though the inner wheelhouse goes on the inside edge of the fender. meaning the outside of the car kind of thing. You see it overlaps the fender that way. But that doesn't look right when we do that, so I think this is supposed to go inside, like we have it here. I think this is correct. Anybody that's got a second gen could answer that question for me. I'd appreciate it. But most of these holes don't line up either way, and the way we had it or this way, they don't line up. So I'm going to attribute that to the aftermarket panel. Fenders are aftermarket, so some of this stuff lines up like up here, so you can get that to line up. But only one of those lines up out of all of them. So we're just going to mark new holes and redo them. All right, that's how far we got today. A little more blood. Not too shabby. So we're going to go ahead and leave this thing in this way. I do think that makes more sense. Now we got this fender on pretty well. A little bit more body work to do. I'm leaving rather, the gaps a little big here. These are going to be about a 1/4 inch instead of 3/16, because I've had a lot of problems with things hitting and stuff here, and I don't want to run into problems down the road. So that gap's going to be a little big. But this all is relatively okay. This is a little low. You can see there. It's a smidge low, but we can build that up a little bit if needed. And then we got to do this guy next time, take it all apart and get the wheelhouses on there. Tom Noble had said it was much easier to put these on first and then put the fenders on. We tried like doing some experiments here as we were trying to take the measurements and whatever, and no, that's way easier to put these on first and then put the fenders on. It's a lot bulkier and heavier, but you have access to all the bolts and everything. It's much easier to work with. So thank you, Tom, for that piece of advice. All right, that's going to do it for today. Any parting thoughts?
No, out of here.
You're out of here. Yeah, it's hot. Hopefully it's going to start cooling off here now. It's a little toasty in here. Bob doesn't bother Pops for some reason, but he's the Scandinavian blood. And
Viking blood. Should be the opposite.
It should.
I should be sweating like you.
You're right, but you're not.
That's right.
All right, everybody. Thanks. We'll catch you next time.